Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out tonight to learn about our projects. And my name is Mike Flagg. I'm Director of Public Works at Hanover County. And with me tonight, we've got our County Administrator, John Badusky. We've got our Planning Commission member, Larry Ledbetter, is with us tonight. Jackie Dankos is on our Airport Committee. And then a number of county staff, and if I could just get the county staff to raise your hands. When we break up later, these are folks that can help answer your questions. So if you want to talk about any of the elements we discussed tonight, please engage those folks. And I'd also as I go through my presentation on the airport, I'll talk about it, but we are hosted tonight by our Heart of Virginia Flight Services, who is our fixed base operator for the airport. So again, thanks for coming out tonight. And as a start, since we had folks coming, there's a lot of rumors out there about the airport, so we thought we would just introduce the airport to you in terms of what it's here and some basics about it, so that as we proceed through some things later next year, we can re-engage you and discuss the airport in addition, because it is part of the larger community. It's been here a while, but we certainly understand it impacts folks. But this is the Hanover County Airport. This is an aerial photograph really that sort of spans from this end to this end in terms of areas we maintain for safe air travel. The road project at Lewistown and Ashcake is over here in that quadrant. So we'll be talking about that later. The airport is a county-owned airport. It's a public use airport. There are just over 35,000 air flight operations a year here. It's capitally funded largely by the FAA and the state. The county general fund matches those dollars, but usually our grants are in the range of 90% federal, 8% state, and then 2% local. So we're fortunate to leverage those outside dollars for our economic purposes here. I mentioned Heart of Virginia Aviation. We operate the airport through a lease with a private company, and they pay leasehold on the property for the use and benefit of the maintaining it. So they do a lot of in-kind services in terms of mowing and upkeep. They also pay lease, again, to help underwrite the cost. We're what's known as a general aviation reliever airport. And in that regard, we're never intended to have big jets like you would have out of Richmond International Airport. We're really here for the small aircraft to remove that congestion from the Richmond International Airport. So the biggest thing you'll see here is a reasonably sized corporate jet and then a lot of small aircraft. So the intent's not to have a large aircraft like you might see going in and out of Richmond. Now sometimes, since we share the same flight path as Richmond on one of their primary runways, you'll see aircraft coming over the airport, and we often get complaints about large, low-flying aircraft that are actually landing in Richmond because we're on the same flight path in terms of orientation. So that's just something for the public to be aware of. We've been in operation since 1969. The facility in total is a little over 230 acres. We have approximately 100 aircraft based here all the time. Sudden. There we go. The types of activities the airport helps support throughout the community include our agricultural operations, and we sometimes get some complaints about the crop dusters, but they're certainly valuable to our agricultural community. Even in Chesapeake Bay, a lot of the seeding that's going on these days is done aerially, so when they're flying in, they're actually sowing cover crops and so forth to help support the Chesapeake Bay and soak up those nutrients. We have medical flight emergency services here out of VCU. They, heaven forbid, ever needing them, but I actually had a driver need those guys in April, and it was really important that they were able to get him to the hospital. He's recovering well at this point, but again, you never know when you're going to need something like that. Emergency and disaster response and assistance. Aircraft fly out in and out of here that help support disaster relief. We support military aircraft primarily through things like fueling operations. We have a lot of business aviation that travels in and out of the airport. certainly recreation, flight training, and even things in your day-to-day life like your mapping software, things like that. A lot of remote sensing and other technical activities occur in airplanes that often use the airport. In terms of economic impact, the airport has a fairly significant economic impact. We support about 48 employees in total, fairly significant payroll, and even supply chain related impacts also affect the local economy. So it helps build jobs and build the economy. We have a little over $11 million total annual impact to the local economy. I wanted to show this map, and it's pretty complicated, but later when we break up, our airport manager, Chuck Sabrito, Chuck's sitting over here, will be over here in the conference room with our airport layout plan. So if you have specific questions about the airport, want to talk about the airport, Chuck's here to answer your questions. Our airport layout plan and master plan was adopted in 2003, so it's about 20 years old at this point, and that's what the airport has developed and evolved over time to match that layout plan. We are looking at having a master plan update beginning next year. Will take about a year process, and we plan to engage the public largely. And that's just to re-look at this plan to make sure it's current. So for example, some of the things, the area we're at right now, the terminal building's actually right here, and you'll see a number of corporate aircraft locations. Folks like Lux Stone that have their own facility here pay ground leases and financially support the airport, which helps underwrite the costs. In addition, they use that. But we have T-hangars located in that region. So some of the things we'll review through the master plan is, should that be T-hangars or should it be corporate aircraft, those types of things. And even the position of things like this taxiway, should that taxiway be there or should it be a little closer to the runway? Those are the types of things we review typically during a master plan update. But I wanted to give you a heads up that that was on the horizon. This facility we're in now was completed this past year. This was funded largely by the Virginia Department of Aviation and then some local funds, again, to help us service the clients that come here each and every day.
Mike, what's the blue line in the north part of the map?
This was on our comprehensive plan, is a thoroughfare road, new Ash Cake extended. So it's shown for the purposes of being there thematically. And that's going to, and it is a point of discussion in the current comp plan whether or not that will continue to exist. The airport is not reliant on that road for our functions. We merely show the connection if it were ever to occur.